So I have a nearly 4-year-old daughter, Frida, and our next-door neighbors have a son, Fred, the same age. Their birthdays are a week apart. The kids are best friends and love playing together, though we try to limit it a bit because they have a dynamic that gets them really rowdy and riled up. Fred is a handful, and I think his mom does her best. But Fred's dad? So whiny and entitled it's infuriating. So the other day, all the neighbors with kids got together to do a little winter bonfire in the backyard. Roast marshmallows and make bread on a stick in the fire. So I got sent out to get a hold of some good sticks we could use, and I took Frida and Fred with me. We live in townhouses where there is a long row of garden plots you can rent. One of the spaces is unused and full of the branches and things people cut out of their gardens, so we head over there to grab some sticks. The kids bring a couple of toy shovels they're playing with. As I'm trying to cut branches, the kids go into the next garden plot. I know the older lady who has it, and she is always welcoming to the kids playing on her plot, and is always offering them strawberries or peas from the garden, so I figured it was okay for them to play in there for a couple minutes. Well, I hear stones hitting the ground and manic laughter, so I look over and see Fred is kicking over all the bricks this lady has made a raised planter out of. Then my squealing Frida is grabbing the bricks and throwing them. I put a stop to that real fast and told them we have to rebuild the planter and that it's not okay to ruin other people's things. Fred got bored with that and found a place he could dig a hole. I told him he needed to help, but I couldn't make him. Frida helped me fix the planter and went to play with Fred when we finished. I went back into the patch of branches, cut what I needed, and came back out after 3 minutes. I'd heard they were digging in some dirt, and that was fine, but as I'm coming out, I hear that impish, "Oh, we know we're being naughty," giggling again. I found they had dug all the gravel out of another neighbor's garden and were flinging it all over the parking lot. This time I was pissed. Had I not just told them not to ruin other people's gardens? Now we need to clean up this mess. Not okay, guys. I told Frida to run home and get the big broom and told Fred to start shoveling gravel back in place. Frida took off to fetch it. Fred sat down and resolutely informed me that I'm not his dad and he doesn't have to listen to me. I told him that when he's with me, he most certainly does, just like Frida has to listen to his parents when she's with them. Fred cries. So I call his dad and say I need reinforcements as we have a situation over here. Frida comes with the broom and I get her started shoveling. I'm sweeping and can see it's hard for her to understand why she has to help while Fred gets to sit and play with his shovel. I explain it's because Fred doesn't want to help clean up the mess they'd made, but that Fred's daddy was coming to make him do the right thing too. Fred's dad shows up and I explain what's happened and that we need to get this cleaned up and fix up this planter they destroyed. But instead he goes to Fred all like, "Aw buddy, are you tired? You're acting like this because you've had a long day, eh pal? Do you want to go home and have a juice and watch some Paw Patrol?" I'm like, "After we get this mess cleaned up, right? I told the kids we need to fix this before we go back." He responds, "No, it's just kids being kids. Let them garden owners fix it. They won't know who did it anyway. Besides, I'm freezing out here. Aren't you cold, Fred? Let's go." Frida says she's cold too and wants to go with Fred. I told her that I was also cold, but we can't just leave someone's garden in ruins or leave gravel all over. So we swept and shoveled everything back in place for 20 minutes. Frida asked about why Fred didn't have to help and got to watch TV about 15 times. I could see the cogs in her little head turning, trying to reason out why she was being punished while Fred got rewarded. And I just didn't know what to say to her, other than in our family we take responsibility and clean up our own messes. I had to bite my tongue and not add that Fred's dad is an entitled shit and that the apple doesn't fall far from entitlement tree.
I think it would be a good idea to sit your daughter down and try to explain to her how Fred's behavior will get him into trouble in the future, if it is never corrected. By that, I mean, don't just say he'll get in trouble. I mean, try to find examples you can use in the real world when he's older and his father no longer makes the rules. Answer questions about why the rules exist and what can happen if they are not followed. If you can get her to understand and sympathize with his potential victims, it might help her in refusing to join in his behavior in the future should you choose to let the play dates continue.